Well, welcome to Found in Focus. This week on the Found podcast, I had the privilege of speaking with my dear friend and a well-respected author and psychologist, Dr. Mary Lynn. And I always learn from Mary, whether we're, just hanging out or whether I'm reading her book. And her new book is just incredible. It's helping people discover all that God has intended them to be. And one of the verses that she shared, just as she was sharing her own story and this journey of identity and finding purpose in her own life, can really be captured by Romans 12, verse 2. Listen to what it says. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person. And how? Here's the key. By changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So many of us would say, what's God's will for my life? I think it was one of my main questions for so many years. What is God's will for my life? Well, in order to know what God's will is for your life, which, by the way, is good and pleasing and perfect, we have to let God change our thinking. And Mary talks about how we can get wrong thinking patterns in our mind and where those sources of those thinking patterns or behavior patterns perhaps have come from, which she unpacks from a psychological point of view. But also she reminds us that when we are in relationship with God, He does change us from the inside out, that the Holy Spirit becomes our teacher and He transforms our thinking. Our brains can heal. We can think differently. We can establish new patterns of thinking. And that enables us to walk in our true identity and purpose. I'd love for you to listen to that podcast with Dr. Mary. I know that you'll be really encouraged and blessed. You'll want to get her book, Rebecoming. But I want you to be encouraged today that no matter what's happened to you, you can be transformed. Your thinking and behavior patterns can be made new. You can discover and walk in the will and purposes of God in your life if you will surrender to Jesus and allow Him to transform you. So watch the podcast with Dr. Mary and let God do a beautiful, renewing work in your life.